Hey, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to Live from the Lesson Room tonight. Today we're going to talk about how to play some jazz 12-bar blues. So my last student wanted to get into playing 12-bar blues, and we were talking about the blues and the evolution of the blues and how it can go from something very simple and basic into something like I was just playing, which is the changes for Billies Bounce from Charlie Parker. But I played them in E. It's actually an F, but E sounds kind of better for guitar. It's more of a guitar key. So let's take a look at how this works. Standard blues, one chord is E7, four chord would be A7, and a five chord would be B7. And these are all dominant chords for like a standard blues. So what happens here is we have 1, 4, 5, 1, and that's the primary chords in the key. 1, 4, 5, 1. But what's happening inside of all that, we have these guide tones moving in tritones. There's E7, right? So these two notes are a tritone apart. This is the third and that's the seventh of the chord. If I move that a half step lower, I land on A. Back to E again. Half step higher, now I'm at B. Now I'm at A. Now I'm at E. I'm at B. So what's happening is these guide tones are moving chromatically. This is the third, this is the third of E, that's the seventh of E. Move down a half step, that is now the seventh of A, and that's the third of A. So the seventh becomes the third, becomes the seventh as you move chromatically. So you can play your entire blues with only 6 notes. There's a lesson on the channel about the 6-note blues, you can check that out. But you can play your entire blues with this, that. When I'm playing the blues, I'm thinking that. I'm thinking about these. Miles Davis called them the butter notes, the guide tones. It happens with all the jazz changes. So in the blues, we start with E7 to A7. Standard blues changes. 4. Back to 1. 5, 4, 1, and 5. I skipped a couple of stages there along the way. There's you don't have to have the turnaround at the end yet. You can just go 1, 4, 5, back to 1 again. But since we're looking at this jazz blues, let's look at what happens here. The first thing is, maybe not the first thing, but a thing is, after I go to the 4 chord on my second measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what was playing in the track underneath when I was kind of soloing. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's A7, but then I played this passing tone. Now in the real world, it's a half diminished chord. It's not. I like fully diminished better here. It's actually a minor 7 flat 5 chord, like this. But I just kind of do diminished. It's just kind of easier for me to think about diminished than half diminished. It's always kind of been that way for me. So 1, 4, passing tone, back to 1. Now what happens next is really neat. There's a 2, 5, 1 to the 4 chord, back to 4. So B minor 7 is the 2 chord of A, so it's the 2 of 4. And an E7 is actually the 5 of 4. It's called a secondary dominant. It happens to be organically a part of the key. It's the root of the key, the tonic, if you will, of this Mixolydian sounding blues thing, but it's the 5 of 5. So now we threw a 2-5 in, which is very jazz, right? Back to the 1 chord, or the 4 chord, but then another passing chord in that next measure. Now I may have taken some liberty with Billies Bounce, because I did this in college like 4,000 years ago, studying at Duquesne with how to play over the blues or how to play jazz. So that was a long time ago, and I probably have embellished a lot of things. Like a lot of songs I learned, I just kind of learn the original song, and then I find out later the version I'm playing is gravitated a good bit from the original song after doing it in clubs for 1,000 times or something. Your version of Wonderwall might be a little different than the actual Wonderwall. At some point it kind of changes. But so now we're at the 2-5 for this 4, and then we have this passing chord, and then this gets really neat. Now we're going to go 1, which is E, the 2 of E, F sharp minor 7, the 3 of E, which is G sharp minor 7. So like your diatonic chords, 1, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? That's your diatonic chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that kind of thing, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to play 6. Now, one of the rules with jazz is you can substitute any chord you want to with a dominant chord, pretty much. So if you're playing like a 1-6-2-5, 1-6-2-5, I could go 1 and do 6 like this, then do 2 like this, 5. You've heard that change here a lot of times, haven't you? Or I could go like this. It's the same thing. If I go, either way, your guide tones, the tritones are moving. With tritone substitution, do that. And you can make it really cool by doing these, substitute everything a tritone. See, everything's going dragging, isn't it? Like, this kind of drags along. So you can make these all dominant if you want to. I like this to be minor. I like my 3 chord to be minor. And then the 6 chord, however, I think dominant sounds really cool there. 7 sharp 9 chord. Your Hendrix chord sounds good right there for this one. And if you do a tritone substitution below the bass line like this and move down chromatically, we have this next chord, which is going to be our 2 chord. Now, like I said, you can make that dominant. It should be minor, but I'm making it dominant because I can. And then the 5 chord, or this. See, it's either B7 sharp 9, or it's F13 sharp 5. Flat 5, I'm sorry. The tritone substitution away from that one as well. So that all kind of works. So if you go through these changes now, the Charlie Parker version of this, which actually again is in F, but we're playing it in E because we're guitar players. Damn it, in E. Much better than F for, guitar. Everything's in E, right? That's where we want to play everything. Fantastic. So, anyways, 1, 4, passing tone 4, 1, 2, 5, 4, passing tone 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 sharp 9, 2, but a 13th chord, it's tritone substitution. You can do like a flat 9 instead if you want to. That sounds nice. 1, 6, 2, 5. see what this comment says. Can't see without glasses. It's really small here. It says, a complete beginner in guitar, can you create a simple jazz riff from pentatonic scale? Absolutely. That is a great question. You sure can. Okay, check this out. If you play a pentatonic scale, we're going to play over this E7 chord, right? What we want to do is we want to treat this the way that Chuck Berry treated his Johnny B. Good riff. What he is actually doing, he's not playing pentatonic like this. He's playing out of the 7th chord, just like in the video I'm doing right now. The 7th chord for, let's say, we'll stay in E since this whole video is in E. Here's the E minor pentatonic scale. It's going to sound really bad over this. It's not going to work. If I start playing the backing track, it kind of sounds not so great, right? So what we want to do is play out of this dominant 7th chord like I was talking about with this video. This is the root, that's the 3rd, and that's the 5th. So it looks like an F chord, right? Like an F chord up here. But we add the flat 7 on the 15th fret of the B string, and that's a dominant 7th chord. If you play that, but you think pentatonics, we're thinking this, we're actually playing this. So this note is the flat 3rd, and this note is the major 3rd. So this is like the, it's open. This is a flat 3rd, it's a G natural. Then we have a G sharp for day tripper, which is the same thing that Johnny B. Good was. What he's doing here is playing the root and then the flat 3rd and then the major 3rd. By doing that, we're outlining this dominant 7th chord. So we're thinking pentatonic, but we're playing that kind of thing like there. It's really, really neat. Think Leonard Skinner. It's like throwing a 6 in there. So the riff would be this. I'll do that slowly. And you can go like this. So I played 14, across 2 strings back to 14, kind of toggled, and then hammering on from the 12th fret to the 13th fret with my 2nd finger. It's the same thing here too. That's the sound down here. So we have that's how you create a blues lick from the pentatonic scale. If you don't know anything more than that, it will sound great over all this stuff. Like these dominant chords don't sound so great. I'm drinking some water. Because I can do that, we're live, right? The dominant chords don't sound so great with the pentatonic scale. It's really not a good sound. The next thing you can do too is you can slightly bend those notes. If I go like this, now what's happening is I'm playing the same negotiable 3rd in between the notes. Like if you look at like the Hendrix, when he does that, he's playing the minor 3rd, but down here the chord has a major 3rd for dominance. So that's a problem, right? There's a discrepancy there. We have this, but then we have this. So if we go like, there's a minor 3rd and there's a major 3rd, that's a problem. So what we want to do to accomplish that sound is to play this 3rd but then slightly bend it. And that's a beautiful sound. If you do that here, slight bend on the third. I call it the attitude bend. It's like, if you're doing it that way, that's the right sound, and it's all over the place. It's that sound right there, like whoa, now. Now it works on the seventh too. If I go here into the D note, and then the third also up here. So we go. So we can play this one like this, or we can go. There's a video on YouTube where some guy was looking at a pitch corrector with Aretha Franklin's voice, you know, what you want, baby, I got it. She's like, that kind of thing. What you need. And instead of doing that, they corrected her pitch, and it sounded just like, you could find the video, it's on YouTube. It sounded terrible because she didn't sing that blues sound when you're kind of reaching up the note like I was talking about. Same thing with Robert Plant. They took but then they fixed his voice. That's the note right there. That's the sound you want. So what we do is slightly bend the third, which is a G, and slightly bend the seventh, which is the D, and you can play all your pentatonic scale shapes. The question was, how do you take the pentatonic scale for an absolute beginner and play the blues? And this is what we're doing. Kind of a little adjunct thing here on the side of the video topic, which I appreciate. Thank you for asking the question. You do this slight bend on the G and the D, you got to play all your positions and find them all. So back to this video again. I'm playing the Charlie Parker blues changes for Billies Bounce. I'm doing it on in the key of E instead because we're guitar players and key of F is kind of foreign territory. Lots of good Paul McCartney songs in F, but if we're going to play the blues, let's do it in E because that's where George Thorogood does his blues, right? So it's got to be good. So what I did is I start with the 1 chord, and then we go to the 4 chord, and the 5 chord like a standard blues. But we're going to play 1, 4, then we're going to play this passing chord. And it's actually a half diminished chord, like a minor 7 flat 5, half diminished 7, kind of have the same name for different features. But diminished chord is a passing chord, back to 1 again, and then we're going to do a 2-5, 2, 5, back to the 4 chord. So it fits this 2-5 in, and the 5 is the secondary dominant. It's the 5 of 4, another passing chord, 1, 2, 3, 6, 2, 5, but second, I'm doing tritone substitution, putting an F13 chord instead of this E7 sharp 9, because I'm going a tritone below it, and then 1, 6, 2, 5. Now to play over that, what you want to do is start to learn your arpeggios. I'm playing an E7 chord to A7. So in the standard blues, the best way to approach to start to play this kind of jazz blues thing is to play your arpeggios over the 1, 4, and the 5 chord. Learn how to do that. So if I play E7, it's sort of like old-fashioned sounding 50s riff. that. Now I'm going to play A7 next. Back to E7 again. I'm just playing chords at the moment. That's it. Now I'm going to connect those with some passing tones. So basically I'm just playing the chords and putting notes in between them. Now the thing about this be-bop sound is you want to go up and down. And then with this Charlie Parker blues, now I'm going to throw this diminished riff in. You can play a diminished scale, or you can play a diminished arpeggio. You can go. You got to learn all your arpeggios. I can't stress that enough. Now this 2-5-1, I'm going to play a 2-5. There's B minor. There's E7, or I could play like something like a kind of scale on that too. And then there's my diminished chord passing again. And then 1, 2, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. Really fun to do. Charlie Parker Blues. Guys, have any questions about anything? Any more questions about playing any of this kind of jazzy blues stuff? Really fun to do. Add a little bit of spice to your blues playing, so you're not just playing, you know, start it simple. then throw your changes into the blues. It's really, really fun. So work on playing the dominant 7th chords and start learning your jazz chords and connecting them together. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comment section down below. I'd love to help out with anything I can help out with. But this is how I relax at night. It's been a really interesting day. I have to unwind somehow. I just love this sound. All right, any questions at all about playing jazz blues before I head off the channel here? Thank you so much for checking out the video and hanging out with me at night here. I'm sitting in my studio. To go home at some point, but I'm enjoying just playing the guitar a little longer. It's like that Jackson Browne song, Before I Head Home and back to responsibility. I think a lot of us just rather play guitar all day long. That's pretty cool. All right, have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to try to do this as many weeknights as I can whenever I have the opportunity. So catch you next time. Please leave comments. If you haven't liked the channel already, please hit subscribe. And I'm looking forward to working with you. Thanks a lot.